What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be doing a team building guide for the new VEGETA'S Family Extreme Super Battle Road stage that just released on Global here. So I don't think that this is going to be a very difficult stage by any means. There's a lot of good units on this category. So we're first going to take a look at a bunch of the best units that I think would be wise to include on your team. And then at the end, we'll jump over to in-game and I will show you guys some example team builds that I have put together as well. So as you can see here, we're going to be facing off against all Goku's family, category enemies the entire time. So basically for the first two fights, it's going to be against Pure Saiyans. There's going to be a Pure and Hybrid Saiyan on the second fight, and then it looks like a Pure and Hybrid Saiyan on the third fight as well. So we'll keep that in mind as we are looking through these units' kits, because that is going to be relevant at certain points here. So yeah, as you can see, this is a gigantic category. There is a lot of good stuff on here, as well as quite a few different leaders that you can use for your team. So the first units that we are going to go over here are going to be potential leaders that you could use. So first up, we have the LR Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta here. He is going to be the best just overall Vegeta's family leader in the game, because he's got a full 180% stats just to Vegeta's family. So that is awesome, because you're not limited to anything, right? You can use any units on the category under that 180% buff. So that is going to be really, really solid. And then obviously this guy does amazingly offensively and defensively. He's going to be a really solid unit for you. Majin Vegeta is going to be a really good option as well. He's a 170% lead to Vegeta's family, and most of the units on Vegeta's family are on Gifted Warriors as well. Most of the Vegeta cards are. Quite a few of the Kid Trunks cards and stuff are on Gifted Warriors as well. So chances are, if you're using Majin Vegeta as your leader, it's going to be pretty easy to get a full 200% build out of this. So he's going to be a really, really solid leader as well. I guess one thing to mention, though, is that if you do decide to use Majin Vegeta, you're going to want to make sure to have a Trunks on your team as well. That's pretty much vital, because he gets an additional 30% damage reduction when you have a Trunks on the team. So if you don't have a Trunks on the team, this guy is going to be a bit of a defensive liability for you. And if you have him as your lead, I assume you have him as your friend lead, you definitely don't want two cards on your team that are going to be defensive liabilities, right? So definitely make sure that you include a Trunks of some kind. Or at least it says an ally whose name includes Trunks. So that can be an important detail for sure. So another good leader that we've got, probably not as good as the other two, but the GT Super Saiyan Vegeta here, he is going to be 150% lead to Vegeta's family, so that's still usable, still good enough, and then you could certainly run one of the better leader skills as your friend lead if you wanted to. This guy has fallen off a little bit, he's not quite as good, but if you make sure to get him all of the orbs that he needs to nuke properly, then his defense will be high enough to, stay safe there, and he won't get destroyed. So, yeah. So then next up we have the Vegeta and Trunks. They are another really, really solid leader. Obviously they don't lead Vegeta's family themselves, but they do lead Bond of Parent and Child, which has a ton of Vegeta's family cards on it. So if you are able to run them as a lead, that's definitely not a bad idea. And because they have Trunks in the name, they are going to count as that Trunks card, so you could definitely run them alongside the Majin Vegeta, and they will be a wonderful pairing. Definitely probably the strongest rotation that you can build on a Vegeta's family team right now is going to be this Vegeta and Trunks with Majin Vegeta. So yeah, definitely, and this is like, one of the best units in the game in general, so they are definitely going to be wise to bring. They're a really solid slot 1 tanker, because they guard as the first attacker in turn, so that is going to be a really, really big help in Super Battle Road for you. Okay, so this is another potential leader that you could bring. If you're just bringing all Vegeta cards and you don't bother with any Trunks cards or anything like that, then you could just run a Pure Saiyans leader here. And this guy has definitely not fallen off yet. People are using him a lot less, just because the relevant teams that seem to be going around right now don't really include this guy. But he is still a force to be reckoned with. He is absolutely amazing. He isn't like perfect for Super Battle Road, because he has to build up Each attack he performs, he gets that additional defense. So obviously each battle of the Super Battle Road stage is going to reset that. So he's going to struggle a little bit turn 1, I'd say. You're probably not going to want to throw him in slot 1 and stuff. You're going to want him to build up a little bit first. But he could be a really solid floater for you for the Super Battle Road stages for sure. And then, you know, like I said, if you don't have any other leader skills, then this is going to be a really good leader skill for you to try and take advantage of. Okay, so I think those are all the leaders that we had examples for. All of these units are just ones I wanted to mention because they seem pretty good for Super Battle Road stages. So I did want to mention the LR Majin Vegeta. After his Extreme Z Awaken, he does a lot of damage. And with the stunning chance that he has in his leader or in his super attack effect here, that is really good for Super Battle Road, especially if you're able to get off the Ultra Super Attack, because he does an AoE, colossal damage to all enemies, and then a medium chance of stunning them. So if you're able to get off that 18-key Super with him, he can end up stunning, you know, one or both of the enemies that you're fighting, and that could be super, super helpful. And he is going to be doing a lot of damage for you as well. So taking a look down at his passive, he does get some start of turn defense. All of his attack he gets on super, so he hits really hard. And then he gets some additional damage reduction if there's a Bulma on the team. So that is kind of interesting. There aren't really any good Bulma cards at the moment. Maybe the physical Vegeta and Bulma, the free-to-play story event card that came out during the 7th year anniversary. Potentially you could use them as... because they're a solid, like, you know, Vegeta's family support unit, so I suppose you could use them. But yeah, other than that, I don't think there's any, like, Bulma cards that you're going to be able to use to get that damage reduction active. But I would say that that's kind of important for this guy. He's going to be a defensive liability for you for sure if he's not getting those stuns off in his super attack. So yeah, and then he gets some additional stats and stuff if there is a Kid Trunks on the team. Or a Goku enemy, which is, you are going to be getting that, so that is pretty good. Okay, so we'll move on to, we've got the Giant Ape Vegeta here. He is going to be solid because same deal, on his 18 key, he has an AoE, so that is a very, very helpful thing. This guy is a pretty solid defensive unit as well, especially if you're facing off against Gokus, which you're going to be doing every single fight. So he's going to be getting his entrance animation, which actually gives him additional attack, but the rest of his kit is built pretty defensively, and it is worth mentioning that he does guard all attacks here, so he is going to be pretty solid defensively for you. Definitely a decent option. Okay, so then we've got the Planet Namek Saga Exchange Vegeta and Goku card here. Kind of cool that even though it's a Goku, you get to run it on Vegeta's family because it starts out as a Vegeta card. So this guy just hits extremely hard. He's a pretty straight up unit. There's not much to mention here other than he is just really, really solid on attack and defensive fronts. So yeah, a pretty reliable unit to use for sure. I guess it's worth noting that if your HP is 29% or less, he can get a revive. So that could be kind of cool, but 29% is pretty low. That's pretty hard to do. But you know, it's there. If you ever ran into that scenario, then you would be able to revive and heal some HP back, so that could be good. Okay, so then we have the AGL Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. This guy has fallen off a little bit. He's certainly not the powerhouse he was when he first EZA'd, but he is still reliable enough, still usable as a unit. He gets that great defense raise on super attack, so he's not going to be a slot 1 unit or anything, but after supering, he can definitely hold his own defensively, and it's not to be forgotten that he can counter as well. He's got a 30% chance to counter super attacks that come his way, so he can be pretty solid for you as well. Okay, so this guy is going to be a powerhouse, for sure. This guy is going to be so solid. This is one of the best units to come out of the Dragon Ball Heroes celebration from this year. Well, I suppose last year now that we're in 2023. But, you know, the most recent Heroes celebration here. So this guy is going to be raising attack and defense on super. That's really good. He also is giving superclass allies 30% attack for 1 turn, which can be nice, I suppose, if you're not running him in slot 3 or anything. And he could be a solid slot 1 unit, so that definitely could be useful for you, providing some attack support to the rotation. He's got 130% stats at the start of turn, and then he gets additional 30% stats and crit 3% per Time Traveler's category ally on the team. So this is a portion of his kit where this is kind of important. You'd want to run him with a lot of Time Travelers, and most of the Time Travelers that are on the Vegeta's family category are going to be also on the Dragon Ball Heroes category. So if you were running a full Dragon Ball Heroes build, that's probably where this guy would work the best. But keep in mind that there are quite a few Trunks cards that are on Time Travelers as well. So you could potentially, get away with using him on a Trunks heavy build. The problem is there isn't a ton of good Trunks cards on the Vegeta's family team right now. So you would probably be sacrificing, some power on the rest of your team just to make this guy shine, which I suppose could be a strategy, but yeah, I think he definitely fits best if you're doing like a full Dragon Ball Heroes build. But yeah, he is going to be really, really solid with his countering normal attacks and getting some additional stats with receiving attacks and everything like that. So he is going to be a really, really solid unit, putting out a ton of damage for you and tanking pretty well as well. Okay, so I wanted to mention Bola here. I won't go too deeply into her kit. Basically, she's just a really, really solid support unit for, for Vegeta's family here. If I am remembering that correctly, I thought she had some support in her kit. Oh, yeah, here we go. All allies, key 3 and attack 40%. So that's really solid. And then she just gives herself some additional buffs if there's more Peppy Gals category allies on the team, which you're probably not going to see. So she can get hit pretty hard on this team, but she does have some evasion chance here. So it starts out at, let's see, chance of evading attack 35%. So she's going to get that just based on herself, and then if there's any more Peppy Gals, she'll get the additional 35% and have a 70% chance to evade attacks. So yeah, I would say if you can, it would be wise to try and get another Peppy Gal category ally on there, but on Vegeta's family, that's going to be really, really hard to come by. So you might just have to depend on like the 35% dodging there for her. Okay, so then another really solid support unit, probably an even better support unit here, is the Super Saiyan Xeno Vegeta. This guy's getting great attack and defense raises on Super. They're infinite stacking, too, so those will continue to stack up on you throughout the fight. And then he's giving 40% attack and defense to Vegeta's family category allies there. Oops, sorry, accidentally clicking buttons. But yeah, so this guy is going to be really, really solid unit for you. And he's on Dragon Ball Heroes, so you could run him on that full Dragon Ball Heroes build. I suppose he could be a decent sub-leader skill for you. If you didn't have any of the other leaders that we talked about, you could potentially run him as a lead. It would be pretty low, but I suppose if you had like 200% lead on the other portion, then that could balance out and do some decent damage for you. Okay, so this guy is not to be slept on. What is it called? I'm blanking on the name here. What do we call them? Not prime battles. Oh my goodness. I'm losing my mind. Why can't I think of what these units are called? The Super Strike units. My goodness. Okay, had a brain fart there. Yes, the Super Strike King Vegeta here. This guy is actually really, really solid. I kind of slept on him at first. But then just reading through his kit, he actually has a lot of really, really valuable things in here. So first off, he raises defense on Super, which is super, super important for units to do nowadays, just to make them, defensively viable. Lowering attack can be good for Super Battle Roads, so that's helpful. He's got Key 4 to himself, so you're never going to struggle to Super Attack, which can be important because his Link skills don't match up insanely well with a lot of the other Vegeta's family stuff, so him giving himself Key is really important to make sure he can Super Attack. And then he also has some stats at the start of turn. Not the most amount of stats, but he also gets additional 10% stats per Pure Saiyan's category ally on the team. And high chance of stunning the attacked enemy. And remember, from the passive, this is going to be a one-turn stun, so it will go away at the end of the turn where he's attacking. It won't carry over to the next turn like where the Super Attack stuns would. But when all allies are Pure Saiyan. So if you're running him on a full Pure Saiyan's Vegeta family team, then he's going to be really, really solid for you. Get a bunch of extra stats, the crit chance there as well, which is nice. And then he gets an additional defense 50% and medium chance to crit when there's another Vegeta's family in the same turn. So perfect, you're definitely going to have that. And then he's also giving Pure Saiyans and Vegeta's family category allies attack and defense 25%. So if there's anybody that's any Vegeta cards basically, so they are on Pure Saiyans and Vegeta's family, they're going to be getting 50% attack and defense from him. So this guy's an insane support unit, as well as does really well for himself on the attack and defense front. And he's got some stun chances in here, some crit chances built in, lowering attack. Like, this guy does everything. He's really, really good. I'd say this is kind of a staple unit to use on the Vegeta's family team right now. Definitely a really good unit, not to be slept on. So next up, I wanted to mention the Super Vegeta here. I suppose you could run him as a leader too. You really don't want to run anything that's lower than a full 170%, and the fact that he only gives 130% to HP is just not going to be good enough. I think that you're going to find, if you run this guy as leader, that you're going to get one shot by super attacks. You're just not going to have enough HP to be able to survive in the stage, but he is there. He does have that Pure Saiyan's leader skill, so that can be decent for you. But the main reason I wanted to mention him, he is does not hold up defensively or anything at all. But the fact that he has guaranteed crits and guaranteed stuns, that's basically what's going to help you out. He's going to be able to do a little bit of damage for sure with the crits, and then yeah, having the guaranteed stun for one turn is really, really helpful. So you could throw him in the third slot. Make sure that your units in slot 1 and 2 defeat any enemies that are going to attack him, and then if there's any enemies that are going to be left over still attacking him, you can make sure that he guaranteed stuns them and doesn't take any damage. So you can kind of avoid this guy taking damage if you're smart about it, and he'll help you out a little bit there, but he is definitely a liability for you for sure. He can't really hold his own defensively. If he gets hit, he's going to get hurt a lot. Okay, so we have a similar situation here with the Super Saiyan God Vegeta. This guy is kind of just RNG dependent because of this. He's got this high chance of guarding all attacks. So, pretty much, if he procs the guarding, he's going to be awesome. He's not going to take damage. If he doesn't proc the guarding, you're going to get hurt a lot. And this guy is definitely lackluster for sure. So, yeah, that being said, if we take a look down here at the bottom of his kit, he's got a great chance of stunning when there's a movie boss or a Pure Saiyan category enemy. Now, there is a Pure Saiyan on every single one of the fights because you're fighting a Goku every single time. So if you make sure to keep the Goku alive as the second enemy, you know, and kill the other enemy first, then you're always going to have a Pure Saiyan active, and this great chance of stunning will always be active there. So he can operate very similarly to the Super Vegeta card, running him in third slot and then being able to stun the enemies that are going to be attacking him type of thing. So you definitely can get away with using this guy. But yeah, like I said, there's going to be some RNG involved for sure, because you need the stuns to proc and you need the guard to proc. Okay, so then last up, and certainly not least, we've got the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta here. This guy is always going to be mentioned until the end of time on any teams that he is on because of this right here. Reduces damage received by 80% for 10 turns. So basically in Super Battle Road, you're never going to get to turn 10. That's just never going to happen. So he is always going to be reducing damage received by 80%. That is perfect. You can just throw him in slot 1 and he'll tank everything for you. And then he's also got a high chance of stunning, which is a nice bonus for his kit as well. Helps out a lot in Super Battle Road. So yeah, this guy is definitely a staple to run on whatever team you are going to put together. Okay, so now let's go ahead and switch over to in-game, and I will show you guys a few team builds that I have put together. Alright, so this is the first team that I have put together here. As previously mentioned, we are using the Vegeta and Trunks as a leader here. You can see we've pretty much got most of the cards I mentioned as leaders just on the team, because they are a lot of the strongest units on Vegeta's family. So yeah, this team is going to be a powerhouse for sure. Definitely running the Majin Vegeta alongside the Vegeta and Trunks is going to be a really, really solid rotation for you. And then you could run the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, or the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, or the Blue Vegeta alongside the Xeno Vegeta for the additional support there as well. So yeah, this is going to be a very, very solid team for you. I suppose you could also run the Friend Vegeta and Trunks to have them on both rotations. And then this team is just pretty much can't die in that Super Battle Road stage. So if you can build this team, I would say this is probably your best option here. Okay, so then next up, I made a team build here where we've got the Majin Vegeta as the leader here. Threw on a couple of random other units as a decent example of some fill-in units that you could use if you didn't have any of these other amazing options to use, right? But again, still all units that we talked about. Okay, and then here we've got the Dragon Ball Heroes setup. So you can actually make a full Dragon Ball Heroes build out of Vegeta's family. I think this one would be kind of fun. I think I do want to try and take this team in there to no item run the stage just to see if we can do it. Because, why not? There's lots of new fun Dragon Ball Heroes cards out, and I like to use them. And then this is the last team that I came up with here. So I put this team together basically as an example if you didn't have any of those other really, really strong units, like the Vegeta and Trunks or the Majin Vegeta, right? If you weren't able to, this team is made up of all like older units. Most of these units came out years ago, and then we've even got the one free-to-play unit there. So, in the King Vegeta down here at the bottom. So yeah, that is this is a really, really solid team as well. This would definitely get the job done. I think you would not have too much trouble. So yeah, there's pretty much like infinite possibilities with all of these Vegeta cards that you can just swap around. There's a lot of similarities between these teams, so you can see it's nothing too insanely creative here from me, but yeah, you've got plenty of options, so hopefully you guys will be able to take down this stage with ease. I hope that this guide helped you guys out, and if you enjoyed it, then consider being a part of the Toxic Tribe with the like, comment, and subscribe on the video. We are still trying to make that push toward 200 subscribers. We are getting very, very close, so join the Toxic Tribe today. That is going to do it for this one, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace!